Carlin! What's going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Carlin was not expecting that.
My brain was just like, yeah, beer.
Dude, I love that intro. I've got to go. I got to go get it. Like, I got to go figure it out on guitar. I get so amped up, and then it doesn't, like, there's no resolution. So, like, musically, like, I'm like, like, I gotta go figure it out. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Ken Wilson is in the house. What up, baby? Dude, I love it, man. Thank Growth, it's Friday. TGIF, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Jeff McGrew, my man. Love you, brother. Thanks for being here, man. Hope you're having an awesome day. Brandy Farmer. What's up, guys? Thank you. Yo. Let's go. It's Friday. It's Carlin's second favorite F word. Facebook user. Real quick, guys, before we get into this, if you guys are watching this from a group, I know on your guys' end, you guys can see who is making the comments, but for some reason on our end, StreamYard is kind of a silly dilly, and we can't see. So if you guys are watching it from, like, within one of the Facebook groups, then if you go right above the video where you're watching this, there's a description. And if you scroll to the bottom of that description, there's a link that says grant StreamYard access. That way it can share your name and we can see who we're interacting with, and we can make this, a little bit more intentional, a little bit more personable. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. What? Haley? Isn't Haley in her 30s? I think Haley's in her 30s, and I don't know how Hello Wisconsin and Good Morning Vietnam is confusing. Haley, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Thank you guys for being here, though. We got a really funny topic. Well, no, I guess not funny. The post. If you guys saw the email was hilarious. Did you guys see the email this morning? Do you guys love the email or not? Wasn't that email just so amazing? I thought the post to go along with it was just as equally good. Was that not just a nice surprise? I love the tongue in cheek there. It was really good. You know who put that email together? Haley did. That was such an awesome email. If you guys did not get the email, go look in your guys' email and go read it. It was, it did, Luke. Yes, it probably did go to spam. Go to spam and go find it, and then go put it back in your inbox. Today's email was super hilarious, and Haley did such an amazing job with it. I love it. Kayleen Frost. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Thanks for being back.
No.
Because it's so empty without Kayleen. Thanks for being here, guys. Carlin, let's jump right into this. What do we have going on?
Well, you know what I think is like, you know that it's Snow White where she's like, mirror, mirror on the wall. And then there's like this cute little dilly-dally in your head. My brain's mirror, mirror on the wall. Who am I looking at? That's what my brain thinks. Who am I looking at?
I know what you're talking about. Haley probably doesn't.
Yeah, Haley's probably clueless.
Yeah. In a good way.
Haley.
In a cute way.
Well,
love you, Haley.
We'll show you the movie later. It's pretty cool.
There's a movie that came out a long time ago, probably before you were born.
I think it was
before
like
you were born, actually.
Or something.
No. Snow White. I think Snow White was the first Disney movie to ever come out.
Was it? I would Google it right now. But
I don't know. We'll have to Google it. Anyway, maybe you guys can tell us in the comments. But yes, it's pretty old.
Someone Google it. Hey.
So anyway, mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah,
who's the beautifulest of them all? I had a bad hair today, so I'm wearing a hat. So I'm definitely not in the running for that.
See, you think you have a bad hair day. I look at you and I'm like, dang, Jesse has nice hair.
I'm growing it out, so I'm in this weird phase right now where it's like it doesn't do the thing that it did when it was short, but it's not long enough to lay the way I need it to lay, So it's like, anyway.
But Jesse, I mean, that kind of falls in line with today's topic of, like self-acceptance.
Tell me more. What does that mean?
Okay, guys, I've actually got a little ditty, a little thing for you. Jesse got me stuck on the word ditty today. So grab a pen and paper. We've got a thinking thing today. We've got a thinking thing. 1937. I was close. I was off by like 50 years. Same difference. Same difference.
Tomato, tomato.
So, do me a favor, guys, and write down the question. How do you balance self-acceptance with the desire for personal improvement?
Okay, so write this down, guys. Let's give everybody a couple seconds real quick. Go grab a pen and paper. Let's get into it. If you guys haven't figured this out by now, this is something that Carlin and I love to do. We don't want you guys just coming here and consuming content. We don't want this just to be another podcast. We enjoy you guys being here. Thank you. You guys fill our gratitude cup up every single week. But I would not feel like I did my job if I let you guys off the hook without being able to take something away from this. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation, but let's get intentional a little bit. So we're going to give you about 30 seconds. Go get a pen and a paper if you don't already have one. And let's make sure that you are set up better leaving this conversation than you were coming in here. So real quick, Carlin, can you, for everybody who's got that pen and paper ready, what was that question? Maybe I can make a banner of it and put it all along the bottom or something real quick so people can see it.
The reading rainbow. How do you balance self-acceptance with the desire for personal improvement?
So everybody write that question down. How do you balance self-acceptance with the desire for self-improvement? And I'm going to add this along the bottom there so you guys can see it. That is such a great question. I love that question.
It's had me thinking like all morning. It's had me thinking. So I was kind of like working on some stuff this morning and going back and forth, and it kept circling back around. And so I was thinking about it, I was like, wow, that's kind of like a two-part. That's a two-parter. That's a two-part thing in the journey. Like self-improvement is one part of the journey, and self-acceptance is like the second part of the journey. Like you have to have, like, if you're going across the country, you gotta go one way and then you have to come back. You have to have those two things running together. Is if you don't have self-acceptance, then that's going to make the whole self-improvement side of things incredibly difficult.
Yeah, but none of this has anything to do with making money, though, does it?
Oh, it has everything to do with making money, because if you can't accept who you are and you can't simultaneously work on yourself, there's like this thing going around right now, and it kind of gets under my skin, honestly. Like the concept of self-love, I feel like, has been interpreted with be stagnant. And that alone it drives me bonkers, because you can love yourself and still need to constantly improve. Like, I love how I am right now. I truly, truly do. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've gone through depression. I've gone through anxiety. I've gone through the whole sham wow. Because when I don't accept myself for who I am, then that makes my self-improvement journey 10 times more difficult. So there's this concept of, oh, just love yourself, be where you are right now, be in the now. And I think that's highly misinterpreted with the just stop doing everything. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely kind of like this fine line, I think, that a lot of people have with there's like, yes, the self-acceptance, like love who you are, love your faults. But at the same time, I want to make note that it's important to make sure that as we're growing and as we're practicing more and more self-love, that we're not just accepting the things that do need to change as well. Like, we're not just, our bad habits and the things that are keeping us from doing the things that we want to do. It's really easy for a lot of people to be like, well, I just need to accept myself. And they accept those bad habits as well. And then it, like you said, it has a direct correlation with your self-development and then the way that you execute in your business as well, which is obviously, the money's going to be a byproduct of all of this.
Yeah. Like, I think it's, so many thoughts. Like you accept the vice. You're like, oh, well, I just do that when I'm upset. Why don't you change it? Why don't you work on changing that habit? Why don't you work on changing that thing? Because if that's what you're doing when you're upset and you're constantly doing that thing, then you're constantly going to be upset. And now it's become an excuse and a vice instead of being something that you can improve on.
100%.
I can think of Luke, exactly. Loving where you're at, but loving the process simultaneously. Like, I wake up every day and I'm like, wow, you know what? I feel good about today. I feel like I've got my goals and I've got my clarity, but I know that there's something I can improve on. And honestly, that little thing of, wow, what can I improve on today? That just makes me love myself a little bit more because now I have something to work on achieving. Now I have something that at the end of the day, I can look back and be like, wow, I did that thing. I accomplished that thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do it this morning.
Yeah.
And it fills your cup. It fills up where you are. Instead of being a cup half empty, why not just fill the cup up?
Right. It's so important to understand exactly everything that you said and how it ties into stacking wins for our day and what that does to us as an individual and what the byproduct of those thoughts and emotions and actions are as we are executing not only in our business but executing on our role as parents, as friends, as business partners. And I mean, today I'll give you here's a good example. I go to the gym all the time. When I was first deployed in 2013, that was my first deployment. Went over to the Middle East and I got in fantastic shape. And I mean, to my benefit, you know, it's not like I had a choice where I go down and have a McGriddle in the morning if I wanted to, or, you know, I didn't have the Papa Murphy's guy knocking at my door. You know, there wasn't Uber Eats or anything like that. So all I had to do was work and work out, which was really awesome. But since then, I've never quite gotten back into that level of shape before. And when I do the hard things, especially being an entrepreneur, when I get up and I go to the gym and I do the hard things and things are working, you know, it's really easy for me, and maybe some of you guys watching as well can relate with this, but it's really easy for me if, like this morning, for example, I was at the gym and my wife texted me and said, hey, can you bring donuts home real quick for the kids before they go to work or before they go to school? Go to work, go to school. Same thing. And I said, yeah, of course. So I went and got a couple boxes of donuts and brought them home for the kids. And up until that's probably been the hardest part, Carlin, is like, I know that I am capable of more, but at the same time, I'm like toting this line of like, I'm always told that I have to love myself and accept myself. And I have a problem. I go to the gym every single day, but I have a problem with maintaining some sort of regimented and consistent diet. So it's really easy for me to like, I'll tell myself, hey, you can have a couple donuts. Like, dude, it's okay. Like, you deserve it. You worked out today. You got up early. You went to the gym. You're doing all these things in business. Blah blah blah. Like, just go ahead and take the bite, man. Treat yourself. It's okay. Accept yourself. And you know what? Today I didn't do that. Today I looked at it and I was like, man. And I had this thought, Carlin, of like how much resistance, and I talked about it a little bit on my live yesterday, but I've had so much resistance being an entrepreneur from friends and family and all that kind of stuff, especially when I was getting started, that I'm like, dude, I did all these things despite what somebody else was telling me. They had no control over me, but here I'm giving a donut. I'm about to give a donut damn control over me. And so I accept myself and I give myself love, but at the same time, I acknowledge that, hey, this is the stuff that I'm no longer going to tolerate.
We had this is kind of relevant. We had a gallon of ice cream in our fridge for like a week, and every day I'd go and just stand and look at it. And James would look at me and he'd be, we're on a diet. Like, no, you decided we're on a diet. I'm not on a diet. You're on a diet. He's like, are you going to let it win? I'm like, oh, fine. So I just end up making like a crappy ass salad.
Egg whites. Yeah, I'll have a sugar packet or two for dinner.
Like, oh. And
go
it's
to a
just
restaurant,
amazing.
order a water and a crouton.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, you know what? Can I just have can you just put a lemon in my water? That's and it's like the hardest. Self-control can be so hard. It is so hard. It is so hard. But at the end of it, you're looking at it and you're like, man, I really wanted the ice cream, but I guess I feel good about eating a salad. I feel accomplished with that. And it's like, it's after the fact when you get that victory, you're just like, oh, that wasn't actually as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Dude, it's all about stacking the wins, you know. And for me, that was a major win today. I mean, here I am. It had such a deep rooted level of importance for me to not eat that donut this morning that I mean, we're talking about it now. That's how important it was for me to stack that win today. And I'm reminded, I watched a reel from Ed Milet maybe a week or two ago, and it was interesting because he was in his Jeep, Carlin. And he's pulled over and he's like, hey guys, I just had like the most amazing win that I needed to share with you guys. And he's like, it's not, I didn't close this big deal. I didn't make a lot of money. Nothing like that happened. He said, I was just at this red light about a half mile down the road. And there was this kid that pulls up next to me and he starts revving his engine and he's like egging me on because he wanted to race. And he was getting really, I don't know if provocative was the word he used, but he was egging him on really good. And Ed didn't do anything. He stayed cool. He stayed calm. He stayed collected. And it did not affect him in any way. He gave that person absolutely zero control of that situation. And he pulled over. It was important enough for him. It was a big enough win for him to be able to look at that. And he's like, dude, I have absolute control over everything, over my life, over my emotions, over my reactions. Because in life, one thing I've learned, Carlin, is there's life events, they're neither positive nor negative. They're simply just events. The way that we perceive them and the way that we understand them in the world around us, that's where we tie a positive or a negative to that event. That's quite literally where the glass is half full or half empty comes into play. It's like, all right, well, how do you understand that life event? And when you understand things around you differently, your emotions change. When your emotions change, that's when your action changes. That's when you execute differently. And the results that you get in your day-to-day or the results that you get in your business are a direct reflection of the actions that you take day in and day out. The actions that you take, guess what becomes a byproduct of the actions that you take day in and day out? Your income. So I love this. Thank you for sharing this, Carl. I couldn't agree more. This is 100% absolutely tied to your income. Understanding how you view yourself, how important you see yourself.
So when you work on building up your confidence and you're focused on the aspect of your confidence, it like your self-belief, your self-confidence, your who you think you are is kind of like feeds you for what you're willing to try.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the confidence, if you're not working on building your confidence or building your resiliency, then when something comes up, like if you were to call me and say, hey, Carlin, I need you to do this thing. And I'm sitting on the other side of the phone going, oh, shit, I don't know how to do that. And my confidence, let's just, even in a day-to-day thing, like on a day-to-day basis, your confidence could be up here and then the next day it could be down here. But when your confidence is down here, that's when you're stacking your wins. And you can look back and be like, hey, you know what? I had a hard time making my bed today, but I made that bed. I made that bed my bitch. Okay, Jesse, I don't know how to do that, but let me see if I can figure it out. And now I've done that hard thing. I've done the research. I've learned how to do it. That gets to go on my wins. That gets to stack. And then you look back at it and you're like, wow, I feel really good about that. Like you're setting the tone for what you believe is possible. So every time you believe something and it has that positive effect in even in your psyche, then your confidence goes up. Your confidence goes up. Well, now you're going to be able to do that next hard thing you don't know how to do, which goes up, which goes up, which goes up. And it's just each stack builds on top of what you believe you're capable of doing.
Dude, 100%. And it has everything, like you said, it has everything to do with your psyche. How you do anything is how you do everything.
I have that on
if
a
you
poster.
forego the small shit, I guarantee you, if you're not where you are, I can go take a look behind the curtain of your business and I can see exactly where those hindrances are. And I can tie that back to the shit that you not only hold yourself accountable, but the things that you tolerate in your personal life. And it goes right back to making your bed. If you can remember every single day, and I love Ben. Ben said, start the day with gratitude immediately, self-love, and counting the wins at the end of the day will be much easier. Your brain will be primed to look for the wins too. Dude, 100%, man. And this all ties into journaling and why reflection and everything is so important. But when you can wake up every single day, and I love this, start with gratitude immediately. Express gratitude for having a bed to sleep in, having a bed that you can make. What a blessing to have a bed that you can make. So you make your bed every morning. And that's where it starts. And then it leads into one thing after another. And by the end of the day, just like Ben said, when you keep track of everything that you counted as a win, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? All of your wins, from getting your kids out the door, to packing their lunches, to making your bed, to tying your shoes, to doing all those things. All those wins, guys, stack up. And when you are cognizant and you are looking for those things, the same thing, like those wins are not just confined. Your brain isn't just starting to look for the wins now with making your bed. Your brain does this amazing and wonderful thing. Your body is so adaptive. And your brain will start to do this wonderful thing where if you're not waking up every single day and you're not making your bed, you start to do that, and you like that needs that. You have to have that feeling. It's not enough just to say thank you. Like, say thank you and express that feeling. Really feel it. Let it hold all of that weight. And as you continue to do that, the cool thing is, guys, is that the same weight that you held when you made your bed every single day, it isn't just confined to just making your bed. Your brain, like that confidence, everything, your brain will start to look for the same wins in your business. If there are things that you know you need to be doing, but you've been putting off, when you start this habit over here of making your bed, your mind is going to start gradually doing these other things as well. It's going to start doing all those little things. And the things that you used to tolerate in your life and in your business, they're going to shrink. Guess what happens when you tolerate those things less and less and less? You get your emotions go up, your confidence go up. And what type of actions do you take as a byproduct of those things going up? How do you talk? How do you execute? How you do anything is how you do everything. It 100% is directly tied to your income.
That quote, how you do anything is how you do everything. I have that written on a poster on my wall. And it's such a great reminder, Jesse. I'm going to admit this live here on camera. I personally struggle with depression very heavily. And having that quote on my wall is a good reminder for me that when I look up and I'm not right with myself, it gives me the confidence to be like, you know what? I'm not in the right state of mind right now, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something that makes me uncomfortable, and I'm going to get my mind in a more positive direction. And so recognizing that when you do something at your full potential, it helps. It really does. It's not just I'm just going to do it this way. It's do it with every bit of effort that you would. Not like a little bit of effort, not like some effort. Do it whole. Do it wholeheartedly. Put every
Mhm.
bit of fiber of your being into it. And depression, anxiety, whatever, you don't get to give those control. You're taking the control away from that emotion. When you look up and you're like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to stack that win and I'm going to make today my bitch. It is such a relieving feeling to just do something that you can take the power. Ooh, Carrie Ann. Our greatest glory is in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Confucius. I love that. And today is my bitch. Every day is my bitch.
I've got I got a lot of sayings, and quotes and things written around, my office, my bedroom, and don't be a bitch is one of them. That's how I like to talk to myself, though. That's the type of feedback I like.
Right there.
Don't be a bitch. That's what I told myself today. I was like, man, I was getting ready to eat this donut. And I'm like, Jesse, dude, you don't need this donut, man. Don't be a bitch. Come on, let's go. We're better than this. We're not going to give a donut control over our life. Let's go.
It really puts into perspective because, like, I'm starting to, and every day is like an evolving process. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter. Well, if you're working on progressing, every day is a process. And so I was standing there this morning and I was like, I could just go get my kids some cereal. I'm going to make them a parfait. So they got this sick ass parfait. And it was gratifying to know that teaching them how to take care of their body is simultaneously teaching me how to take care of mine. They got bananas, granola, blueberries, strawberries, Greek yogurt. Oh, it was so good.
So talk about these self-beliefs, Carlin. These self-beliefs, how does it affect our confidence? And we've dabbled in this a little bit. Doing the hard things.
Doing the hard things sets the tone for what you believe you're capable of doing. Because if you do something easy, then it's kind of just like a brush on the shoulder. You're like, yeah, whatever. But when you do something that is so uncomfortable for you, then at the end of the day, you can walk away and be like, I didn't know how to do that. I'm so much stronger than I was. And for me personally, like I said, I still struggle with a lot of, personal stuff. And there was a time where I allowed myself to be a victim. And when you get stuck in that victim mentality, and it's all of us do it. It's not just like, oh, I'm done. All of us at some point will get stuck in a victim mentality. That's just humanity. That's being human. But when you do something that puts you out of your comfort zone and you do something that makes you uncomfortable and pushes what you believe are your boundaries, then you're stepping out of that victim mentality. You're giving yourself the control to be like, you know what? I am perfectly capable of doing anything anyone has told me I can't do. And I can say that because I was told after dropping out of high school, you're not going to achieve much. You're not going to be able to do this. You're probably going to live with your parents. I don't do any of that. And it's a gratifying feeling knowing that I did not allow myself to be the victim and I pushed myself in a way that I never thought I would be capable of pushing myself. If 18-year-old Carlin could be like, hey, 28-year-old Carlin, what's it like? Like, well, I'm still climbing the mountain, but so far from up here, it looks pretty freaking good. Like, dude.
Talk to me. We've talked a lot about personal stuff. Tell me about how you went through some of these things and had some of these thought processes when you and James were starting out wholesaling.
Oh, let's harp on the heartstrings there. All right. James, so for any of you guys that don't know my husband, I married him for a reason. He is just fabulous.
I would have done the same thing.
I know.
He's a
you
Greek god.
Opportunity. You had the opportunity, Jesse.
I did. I was married at the time, but
You blew it. You're still married.
Yeah. Maybe in the next
I,
life. I'll
I
catch
win.
James in the next life.
But he's just so good. He is so good at everything he does. And it is just mind boggling to me. Like, he just makes everything seem so easy. And for someone who has to put in like 180% effort, for me, at least that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
I got to go full force to really understand something. And he just like, he just makes it look so natural. He just makes it look so easy. And for me, I'm sitting there and when we were wholesaling, like when we were starting to wholesale, I just look at him and I'd be like, why can't I do that? Why does he understand that? Why don't I understand that? Am I dumb? Like, am I missing something? Did I just completely like what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that, I'm dumb or stupid or something or whatever. It's that the way he absorbs and retains information wasn't the same way I absorb and retain information. And it took me a little bit of time to figure out that transition, because I'm sitting there and he's like, oh yeah, hey, Mr. Seller, blah, 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 blah. And he gets off the phone and he's like, yeah, we're going to be closing another deal. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what? How did you do that? And so after a little bit of like taking time to observe and really understand what he was doing, I started tweaking the way I was taking in the information that he was just consuming and absorbing and regurgitating back out.
Yeah.
And it just like, it's something I don't think a lot of us really take into consideration, is the way we learn.
Yeah.
And the way we take in our own. Because for me, I could read a book. That's how I learn. I read. I love reading. Put it on an Audible, you're not going to get much from me, because I like to be able to go back and see and understand. And that's the way he was collecting all this information. He was consuming it through like videos and YouTube and Audibles and stuff like that. And it wasn't the way that I needed to learn. It wasn't the way it was communicated to me. So once I figured out like finding books on the topic. Oh, okay. Ask me how to write a multifamily. I got the pretty basic understanding of it. I didn't really pursue that avenue a whole lot, but I got a book and it just clicked. It made sense. I was like, oh, easy. So I have to have this, this, and this in order to get this. And then the ROI is this.
Right, right.
Put me in front of a YouTube video, out the window.
Not the same thing.
Not the
and
same
it's interesting,
thing.
like how, like once you figured that out, how everything about you shifted, right? Your confidence shifted, your perspective shifted, and it allowed you to go do more things. It allowed you to stack those wins. You figured this out. I had something similar happen. I talked about it yesterday on my live a little bit, but for those of you guys who missed it or haven't seen it yet, I'll kind of share a little bit about what I shared. I went through something similar, and when I was growing up, I legit thought, Carlin, that there were smart people in this world and there were dumb people in this world. And Jesse was just somewhere in between. Don't know where. I'm just somewhere on the line, somewhere between. And friends that I used to grow up with, who I felt like were smarter than me, because they were in, all the higher, math classes and their GPAs were always higher than mine. I legit used to just put these individuals on a pedestal. And I want you guys to, as I'm sharing the story with everybody, I want you guys to think about people that maybe you have encountered that you put on a pedestal. Because I used to put these guys on such a high pedestal. And in doing that, I would intrinsically look at myself and be like, Jesse, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You can't do the things. You shouldn't go to college. You're not a smart dude. So when I was 18, I ended up joining the military. Ended up going to school after I joined the military. I got 3 degrees now. And when I was working on getting my degree, Carlin, I learned something about myself. It wasn't well into my adulthood, well out until I was probably in my mid-20s before I discovered this. But up until that point in my life, in my mid-20s, I legit thought, Carlin, that there were smart people and dumb people, and I was somewhere in between. And for 23, 24 years, I had put these people on a pedestal. And when I started getting my degree and started going to school, I started with one class at a time. It took me 8 years to get my bachelor's degree. But I started out with one class at a time. And the first class I took, I looked at it as kind of like, I'm not in a class with other students. I'm just in my house. I just come home and do my homework after work. And I'm like, dude, there's nobody else. There's no other class. There's nobody for me to compare myself to. Let me just buckle down and just do the work. And I did it, and I got an A in that class. And my wife is one of those people that's really smart. She's really good at school. Like, she's intellectually a very smart individual. And so things that would take her 30 minutes to do would take me 3 hours to do. But Carlin, here's where I fucking discovered something. I discovered something about myself. Was after I got that first A, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I technically got it, even though I only took one class. I was like, dude, I got a 4.0 now. I got a 4.0. My GPA in college is a 4.0. Fuck yeah.
I love Wisconsin.
That was a win for me. Right, exactly. That was a win for me, and that held so much weight, even though it was only one class. The fact that my overall GPA said 4.0 was something I never thought I would achieve. Even though it was only one class, it held so much weight with me. It built, like, just that one life event built so much confidence in myself, how I executed at work, how I thought about myself. And then I enrolled in another class. And of course, because I had that 4.0, I couldn't let it go.
Nope.
So then, if it took me 3 hours to do what it took most people to do 30 minutes, I was like, fuck, I can't let this 4.0 slip. So I would put the work in. If it took me 3 or 4 hours to write the same essay or paper that would take somebody 30 minutes to do, I was willing to do the work because I didn't want to lose that. And then guess what? My second class, I got an A. Still maintained 4.0. Hello, Wisconsin! It was amazing, right? And then so now I'm fucking just stacking wins left and right. Even though it doesn't mean shit. It's not like I was going to school full time. But in my head, it meant fucking everything. I got to write down on my feedback sessions every year in the military. Went to school, have a 4.0, have blah, 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 blah. And it changed my self-perception. It changed my identity. I went from somebody that I thought was not very smart, and I put these other people on a pedestal, Carlin, and I started thinking about all those people I went to school with. And you know what I thought, Carlin? I thought, man, you know what? I fucking got you. I've caught up to you. The people that I used to put on a fucking pedestal, I caught you. I've caught up to you, and I'm going to pass you. It gave me the confidence. It gave me the ability. It gave me the emotion to take the action and execute in the way to where, guess what? I ended up finishing college. I had TDYs and deployments and stuff that come up. So I put a pause in my college sporadically. So like I said, it took me a while to finish my bachelor's degree, but I did it. I graduated. I got 1B. I graduated with a 3.9 GPA, summa cum laude, dean's list. And by the way, I eventually started going full time, where it was just class after class after class after class. And then deployment comes up, pause. And then, we're moving, pause. But dude, I graduated. The people that I used to put on a pedestal, Carlin, I figured out that I could do the same thing. I have to work a little bit harder, and that's okay. But I'm willing to do the fucking work. So all of those life instances, all of those experiences, they build us and they overflow into other areas of our life. So when I started getting into entrepreneurship, especially leaving the military after almost 15 years, 14 years and 9 months, after everybody telling me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, like I knew that I could, if I knew I was going to put in the work. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I mean, the scariest thing ever. But all of those things stack up. That's why it's so important, like Carlin said, to make your bed in the morning. Most people probably listen to this and still not do anything. Success leaves blueprints. Success leaves clues. This is it. This is where it starts. This is how important it is to stack those wins. Sorry, I saw you wanted to share something, but I just so relate with what you were saying about you and James.
Well, dude, I mean, because I get it. I really, really get it. Like, again, there's the smart people and there was the not smart people growing up. And I was just like somewhere in the middle. It's like cliques in high school. There's the cheerleaders, there's the football players, there's the smokers, there's the druggies, blah, blah, blah. And I was that person that drifted. I didn't have a group. I didn't have a clique. I could ghost into any group and I could ghost out. You can say, hey, Carlin, what's up? And then I'd just leave. I didn't have a place. And I spent a lot of time feeling that way. And so when you have this, like, I don't fit in, it almost makes it easier. Like it makes the hard work easier because you're like, oh, I don't really have a mold that I have to fit. I can just do whatever. Like, I don't think very many people noticed that I dropped out of high school. That's fucking awesome because lo and behold, here I am doing all the things I never believed I was capable of doing. And yeah, it's really, really hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that struggle of having to overcome something that's a challenge for me is addictive. That's something that I've figured out. Like I've got an addiction to doing something hard. Like, and it just makes it that much better when I succeed at it. I'm just like, oh, yeah, got you on that one, Carlin. Like, there's like that, like, you know, I used this reference last week. I actually got the reference from you because it is just so perfect. Like, you know, in the Emperor's New Groove, you've got like Kronk has like the little evil angel or the little devil Kronk, and then the angel Kronk. That is like the best interpretation of what goes on in my head because like Angel Carlin's like, just stop it, just go do it, Carlin. And then little devil Carlin's like, you don't need to do that. And so like that battle of like do it, don't do it, every time I do that thing that's like a challenge, it's like that little angel on my shoulders like, yeah, you're such a badass. And it is so gratifying. Like it is. And then I get to write it down in my journal, which I need to go get a new one. Cause this, like, remember how I told you it was breaking? Look at this. Like you can't, I had to tape the back. Like you can't see it, but like.
I love that.
Like this journal is my blueprint. This is everything I have accomplished since October. And it's just nice to like look at it and be like, look, yeah, I did so many cool things in the last couple months. Like nobody can tell me otherwise because I wrote it down. And all the things I never thought I was capable of doing. Next time I feel like I can't do anything, I get to go back and look at this bad boy. Be like, I did it all. I'm up here. I might feel like I'm down here, but I'm up here, motherfucker. Like,
Gabriella says, I need to start journaling.
Gabriella, you too. It's addictive. Once you start getting into the routine of having having everything there. If I'm having a hard day, look at this. This is like 2 days of notes right here. I get to see everything I accomplished in that couple days. It's life-changing. It really, really is. It puts into perspective everything that you've been able to accomplish. If you're having a hard day, write it down. That's okay. What did you learn that day? What did you learn from yourself? What was it that was hard, and how did you overcome that? Did you eat a pint of ice cream like I did when I was having a hard day? Because that made me feel a hell lot worse. But the next time I had a hard day, I ate that stupid salad I didn't want to eat. And I felt great. So after doing that, I went for a walk with my kids and we went and collected rocks. And that was tons of fun. Like, when you journal, you get to see how everything unfolds. You get to see how everything just vomits out the success that you need. Even if it was not something that most people would consider a success. If I was having a hard day and I kept my cool when my kids were losing their crap, that's a win. Find the wins in the smallest things, and it will change your confidence. It'll change your life. It'll change your feelings about yourself. It'll change your feelings about the way other people are handling themselves.
What's the best way? How do you respond when you make a mistake? When you're holding yourself accountable, you do the things, you eat the donut.
First of all, I think processing it, like acknowledging, like, okay, that probably wasn't the best choice. Because you can either beat the crap out of yourself or you can figure out how to not do it again. And if you have to beat the crap out of yourself, do it for like time yourself. Give yourself like 2 minutes to beat the crap out of yourself.
I think that is such a good little tidbit right there. Like, it's okay to not like it's okay if you need to. It's just part of being human. If you get angry, if you get frustrated, if you get anxiety, if you get whatever, it's important to acknowledge those feelings and say, hey, this is okay. This is who I am. This is all right. What's not okay is to take action immediately from that without having any sort of perspective. And I love that you said, hey, if that's how you're feeling, good. Hey, that's fine. Give yourself 2 minutes. Give yourself 5 minutes. Go ape shit. Go into the room. Go yell into the pillow. Go do the things that you're going to do. Give yourself 5 minutes to let it out. And then let's get back to work. Let's get some perspective.
So I have this thing, and I've done it since I was about 18 years old. I had this therapist, and she would say, Carlin, your feelings are in a sorting box, okay? Your feelings are on this conveyor belt. And you need to acknowledge your feelings. Just like how you're working on a conveyor line, you need to pick it up, you need to inspect it, and then you need to put it back on the belt to make sure it goes in the right box. Okay? Sort them, acknowledge them, appreciate them, but don't hold on to it, because it can't get to the end of the conveyor if you hold on to it. And that is something that I have held on to for 10 years, almost 11 years, where if I'm dealing with these feelings, I have to acknowledge them. And there's been times where I haven't. And you know what happens? They get worse. Until you acknowledge it, it just gets worse. So acknowledge those things. Acknowledge that that was hard. Acknowledge that that was a challenge for you. Acknowledge whatever it is you need to acknowledge. Just acknowledge it. Because if you leave it just stuck there, it's going to be that rotten fruit. We don't want the rotten fruit. Just acknowledge it. And I think when you're able to do that, that's how the growth happens.
Facebook user says you are 100% right. If you ignore them, they just fester. You know what's interesting, Carlin? Of everything that we go through as entrepreneurs, everything we change in our habits, the skill sets, the way that we set up our day, the things we do in our business. I think the hardest thing to change, in my humble opinion, is the way that we view ourselves.
Easily.
Why do you think that is? And how do you think you start to change? I mean, I think we kind of hammered down on it a little bit. I think, starting to stack those wins, I think is where it starts. I know for me, even though it was that first class that I took, and even though it was only one class, just being able to see 4.0 GPA on a college level class was never something that I thought I would ever see. And that was something for me that was a big part in my life, where I started to realize the importance of stacking wins and carrying it into a completely different realm.
I think it comes down. This is just my opinion. I think it comes down to knowing who you are. And sometimes if you don't know who you are, it just takes a little bit of time for self-discovery. I went through this period of time where, like, especially during the wholesaling phase, that was hard because, I wanted to be, everyone's doing DTA. I don't want to do that. I don't feel good doing that. I don't feel fulfilled doing that. Oh, everyone's a closer. I'm not a closer. I'm not. Everyone is working on being connectors. Okay. I can get a little bit on board with that. Who I am, I'm a helper. That's who I am. I love helping people. I love listening to people. I love helping people get through their problems. Why? Because I've gone through enough in my life without going into the whole backbone of the story. I've gone through enough in my life to be able to help people come through a lot of different situations. And being able to acknowledge who I am and what I'm good at, I think that's the first step to getting over that hurdle. So it's understanding what value you can bring to people. It's understanding who you are, how you hold yourself, how you carry yourself, what you can do, what you can't do.
Yeah.
All of that just compiles into that ability.
I think you're 100% right. And I love that you shared that. I think having some clarity on not only how you view yourself in the now, but also having clarity on how you view yourself in the future. I think being able to look and see, because you know who you are at your core, and because of that, you know what you're capable of. So with those two things in mind, you can then begin to ponder, who is my future self? What types of things do they do to stack wins throughout the day? What types of things do they tolerate? Does my future self, anytime that there's a donut at the house, does he go and grab one and tell himself, hey, dude, hey, you went to the gym today, bro? You're not down to the 5% or 8% body fat that you want, that you're going towards, but hey, you did the thing, man. You deserve it. Do they allow themselves to be deceived that way, or do they hold themselves to a higher standard?
I saw this thing on TikTok today, and it just it kind of had me stop and think, because she said, when you do something, how are you treating yourself? When you eat something you shouldn't eat, how are you treating your body? When you say something to yourself that you shouldn't say, how are you treating yourself? And it put into perspective that every decision we make is something that's going to attribute to who we are at the core. If I'm sitting there eating donuts all day, which I really want to, if we're being honest.
It does sound really good.
But making that decision, am I treating my body the way it deserves to be treated? If I drink 6 cups of coffee, I'm working on limiting that, by the way. Am I treating my body the way it deserves? If I go to bed late, if I sleep in, Are these going to affect my body positively or negatively? And just watching that video today, I had to like stop and like, whoa, because I never really thought about it like that. Like I never thought about like, is this what my body deserves? Is this what I deserve? Am I treating myself appropriately? Because I mean, talking to myself positively, I've got the affirmations down. I've got the gratitudes down. I know what I want to accomplish in life. But dang, you called me out on food. I just wanted the donut. But when you put it in that perspective, you're right. My body doesn't deserve that. My body deserves something where I'm going to feel energized and good, not just like a nice little sugar rush and spring. I'll go eat a handful of blueberries. It's basically eating a donut, right? So, I mean, that's like the stuffing of the donut generally, right?
Right.
So it's just recognizing like making this transition, this switch where I mean, food, exercise, all of these things that we all use as vices, is this affecting us positively or negatively? Is this what my body deserves? Is this going to get me to where I want to go?
Right. So how do you get that perspective?
Daily.
What do you write specifically? Like give everybody like one thing that they can start to do like with journaling to gain that perspective.
My favorite is the 10-10-10. So
ooh, the 10-10-10.
Yeah. So the 10-10-10 for me, I write 10 gratitudes, 10 affirmations, and 10 things I want to accomplish. And for me, that kind of puts into perspective, I appreciate what's in my life. This is what I appreciate about myself. And with those two things, these are the 10 things that I want to accomplish with what I'm thankful for and what I love about myself. Is that going to get me to where I want to go? These are my 10-10-10 things. I like your thumbs down. So I think if I could suggest anything for anyone, I know I say it repeatedly. Get yourself a journal. Write everything down. If it's a bad feeling, write it down. Analyze it when you're in a good mood. See if that makes a difference. You need to just be continuously pushing yourself, and not in a rough way. Because I think that's something a lot of us do, is we push ourselves in this rough way where we're like, oh, I have to be better. I need to do better. I have to do it. You can't do all of these things if you're not appreciating who you are now. If you don't have the self-acceptance now, then the personal improvement doesn't come the way it needs to come. If you acknowledge, hey, I didn't read today. Great. That's something that you can work on tomorrow. But if you acknowledge that you should be reading and you don't have the self-acceptance, you're creating ammunition. You're creating bullets against yourself, because now it's turning from, oh, that's okay, I have room to improve, into, hey, you didn't do this. You suck. You're horrible. You're blah, 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 blah. You're firing on yourself. It's an open range. You have to be able to accept who you are now to be able to improve who you are tomorrow. So journal. I love writing down my dreams. That's just me. But having a plan, like, I wish I could just like magically flip to my 10-10-10s, but they're all over the place. Writing down your gratitudes, writing down your affirmations. Where do you want to go in life? What do you want to do? It all comes full circle.
So leaving today, I would challenge everybody to do a little bit of self-reflection. Think about your journey. Think about some of the things that you have done or will do leaving today in your journey of just self-acceptance. Oh, what's up, bro? Thanks for jumping in, man. That's my BFF. He's over here in Alaska with me. We're just getting ready to hop off, man. But we're talking about self-acceptance. We're talking about how all that plays a factor into stacking wins and understanding how we think, who we are, who we're capable of becoming, taking action on those things. And this is all directly tied to our income. You know, it's interesting, Carlin, because I remember when I first got into this entrepreneurship endeavor, and I would hear all these millionaires and billionaires, all these people talk about success. And one of the common things they consistently talked about was self-care, self-reflection, self-development, journaling, stacking wins, making your bed, doing all these things. I'm like, yeah. No. But tell me, I don't give a shit about that. Tell me how to make the money. How do I do the business stuff?
Give me the dirty details.
Give me the dirty stuff. Yeah, man. And here's the thing that here's exactly why most people get this wrong. In business, this is the thing that makes sense in my mind. And as a practitioner of this, it is 100% true. Underneath business, you have this umbrella, right? And underneath this umbrella, a long line is drawn vertically from top to bottom, and it's broken up into two pieces. And in order to grow your business, there's these two things that have to grow parallel to each other. You can't have one without the other. So understanding all of these things and how it all plays into your income and how your income plays into your self-development, you can't have one without the other. And Carlin, I see so many people that get caught up in like I was when I first got into this. I'm just like, yeah, I don't give a shit about that. Just tell me about the business stuff. Tell me how to go make money. And so I get caught up in like the tactical things, like the business side of things. And I'm working myself to death. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. I'm making the calls. I'm doing all the things, and I'm not getting the results that I want. But I keep telling myself, oh, fuck, I need to work harder. I need to work longer. I need to make more calls. I need to do the thing. I just need to work. I don't have time to fucking journal. I have sellers I have to call. And what I didn't realize at the time, and why all of these millionaires and billionaires and successful people are hammering down on this shit, is because that's where the clarity comes from. I'm over here executing on shit that I know nothing about. Sure, I know how to cold call and talk to somebody. But simply just knowing that and staying on that hamster wheel is literally what kept me from doing the thing that I'm doing now. I'll generate multiple 7 figures this year passively. And it's because of the stuff that we're talking about right now. It matters. All this stuff is directly tied. So underneath this umbrella of business, it's divided into 2 parts. One is the tactical stuff. One is the business stuff. But also, you have this self-development side of things. And I see people getting caught up on the hamster wheel of one or the other, where they're doing the things that I did. I was on this hamster wheel where I was doing the cold calling. And I was like, man, I'm not getting the results that I need. I just need to work harder. I need to work longer. And then conversely, you have people that end up on the other hamster wheel where it's like, I'm reading all the books. I'm jumping in all the meditation Zooms. I'm doing all the things. Why am I not getting the results I want? It's like, dude, how many people did you call this week? 10? 10? You need to be calling 300 to 400 a day. What do you mean you called 10 this week, bro? So they get caught on this hamster wheel and not on this hamster wheel. There's this balancing act that has to be done. They both grow along with each other. You have to increase the way in which you see business, in which you see relationships, in which you see the things that you do every day. This podcast is a very perfect example. I'm very appreciative that we've had across everywhere that we're streaming. We've had so many people jump in today and interact, and thank you for the comments. It is my hope that everybody implements everything that we're talking about, or at least take one thing away and start stacking wins. But that's where it starts. And as you start stacking wins, as you guys can see, you start to change the way you feel. You start to change the way that you execute. And like today, I didn't eat the donut. So the things that I tolerate in my life is going to diminish, which is great, because then the action and the things I'm doing over here on the business side, the things that I used to tolerate, is also going to diminish. So then my business is going to increase. My income is going to increase. And then I'm going to come to a point where I stunt my growth. I've got to go back over the self-development side, and I've got to continue growing that side of things. I got to be able to see things and relationships, my time, all that stuff from a different vantage point. That's why people hire coaches. That's why people pay Ed Milet $500,000 or Alex Hormozy $250,000 for an hour of their time, because they see exactly what's wrong in the business. And oftentimes, it's not just the business that needs to change. You have to change in the way that you think and you operate and you delegate, so that you can come back over to the business side and continue growing it. So you can't have one without the other.
Gabriella brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that is, I'll post a picture of what that actually looks like on the Facebook page here in a little bit. But that is so true, because you've got the physiological. So like you've got like food, sleep, exercise, safety is the second. Then you've got love and belonging is self-esteem, and then self-actualization. And that pyramid is a perfect structure of what this side of the umbrella should look like. And then it'll reflect over here into the business. And I think Gabriella, thank you so much for bringing that up, because when you can start developing those things, those steps into the pyramid, then your personal growth just will skyrocket.
I 100% agree. I love Luke's comment here. I started doing more cardio after the morning lift because I hate it. Dude, cardio is a 4-letter word we don't say in my house, bro. I hate cardio. I guess that means I'm going to have to start doing it because I hate it. Thank you, bro. I'm going to write that down.
Thank you, Luke. I guess I'll start exercising more.
I guess we'll start doing more. We're all growing here. We're all going to start. Dude, we're going to be fit as fuck. This is going to be awesome. We're going to be the most fit podcast group collectively ever. This is awesome, man.
You know what my favorite cardio is? That just made you so uncomfortable. I saw it.
Yes, I was like, you've been spending too much time with Haley.
No, but jump roping.
Oh, not where I thought you were going with that. Okay.
No,
yeah,
I don't.
Roping is good.
Jump roping. No, jump roping. And then when I feel like I need to do more exercise, I actually go jump on the trampoline, like when my kids are taking a nap.
I like it. And you get even more exercise when you got, 12 inches of snow on your trampoline.
It sounds like a you problem. It's
Good problem to have.
56 here today.
Man, I wish I knew who this was. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate this comment. I am grateful for this comment. I know a lot of times Facebook and social media just in general, is so deceiving, and it makes things seem that people are doing more, life is more glamorous than it really is. So I'm glad that you've allowed Carlin and I, all of you guys have allowed Carlin and I the opportunity to be able to come here and to share, professionally speaking, and a lot of personal stuff as well. Some of the things that we're going through, and hopefully, those things that resonate with you guys as well. We're all here just to grow together, man. You're not doing this alone. So I'm glad that we can be here and be transparent, and that we can be open and honest. And that's why I truly believe that's why we're on this earth. We're all just here to help each other and to share, hey, this is what I went through. This is what has helped me. Let's go through this together, So that's a big part of why this podcast exists. So thank you for the opportunity. I wish I knew who this was, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome. Carlin, any final thoughts before we jump off?
I kind of want to challenge everybody to the 10-10-10. So if you feel comfortable, post 10 of your affirmations, 10 of your gratitudes, and 10 things you want to do. I'll post one of my 10-10-10s.
In the Facebook group.
In the Facebook group, yeah. You don't have to, even if you're going to do it privately, write it down if it's something you're not comfortable sharing. But if you are comfortable sharing, share it with the group.
Okay, one more time for everybody. The 10-10-10. 10 affirmations.
10 affirmations, 10 gratitudes, 10 things you want.
Love that. 10-10-10. Okay. Awesome. I would love to. Yeah, please go share them. Go share them in the Growth Co. Facebook group, guys. I would love to read them. I'd love to comment on them. See what everybody's doing, and yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Hope you guys all have an awesome Friday. Thank you guys for being here with us. Truly, I know I say this all the time, but it's because I mean it. Like, you guys truly fill my gratitude up. Thank you so much for the opportunity, to be here with you guys. I really appreciate it. Oh my gosh. I guess real quick before we hop off, Joe, who this is, Joseph Mabry, gentleman that he and I joined the military together. We went to basic together. We went to tech school together. And Arc of Silence was my band that I had started when I was 19 or 20 years old, when it was right after we had joined the military. And yeah, we went and recorded some music and had a demo out. And he was always our biggest supporter, man. It was awesome. This is hilarious to see. I mean, that was a long time. It was well over a decade ago. That's awesome, bro. Thank you for everything you do, man. Thank you for your friendship, Joe. Thanks for being here, bro. Love you guys. Matt, thank you. Brandon, Brandy, Paula, thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you for contributing. Thank you guys for being open and honest. Thank you for being in the comments and making this as much of a two-way conversation as we can, because that's what it's all about. That's where we all grow. So I love you guys. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Thank Growth. It's Friday.